Chair, good morning. I'll call this meeting to order. I'd like to begin by acknowledging we are in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. My name is Neil Harden. I'm chairing today's panel. With me is Maurice Tarian to my left and Robert Upton to my far left. The assessor today is Jennifer Martins and the secretary is Hada Aziz. Did I get that right? No, there you go. See? We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment rule in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application and will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that applicants of the assessor make at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the board. The board is appointed annually by council and is independent of it in the city administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided in this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the matters to be addressed with each applicant following swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions the applicant may have, and the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application is brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You'll receive the order by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record.
Would you like to swear in, or please state your full name? Dr. Suzanne Martin. And you swear the evidence you represent is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you. Would you like to swear in or affirm?
Swear.
Please state your full name.
And
you swear the evidence you represent is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Okay, so the first property on today's docket is 3299 Pembina Highway, and we have a request for non-cooperation on this one. So on the non-cooperation, first reading the roll number.
File number. Okay, yeah. This is file number 19-2710, roll number 030912638800. In my group, if you go to page 7, there's the envelope and the tracking details and the signature. And then the following pages have the copy of the income expense mailer that was sent, dated June 8th, 2018, which matches the envelope.
And I take it there was no reply?
No reply.
Okay. Any questions of the assessor, Mr. Dupont?
where was it sent?
500-191 Lombard Avenue, Winnipeg, Manitoba, R3B 0X1.
Oh, there. And that's the address of which company?
That's the mailing address that we have on file.
Is that a law firm?
I'm not sure. It's 5529191 Manitoba Limited. Which is what matches the owner on the front page of my brief.
In the past, questionnaires have been provided by Sussex, or why didn't you send it to Sussex, the property manager?
I'm assuming that this is the address that we have on file, and that this is where we send all of our mail to for this property.
No, if they don't have a numbered company at that particular address, can you give us who is at that address on Belmar?
This is the information that I have about where the mailer was mailed to.
And it says signatures A Court, you know who that is, or what firm?
No, I do not.
We have the not just famous, from either land titles or corporations branch indicating that's the address.
No.
So how do we know whether that's the right address or not?
It's the address that we have on file that we send all of the notifications to.
Was it in non-compliance for 2018?
I don't know.
Now the appeal document is Ken Zaitman. Do you know what their address is for their law firm?
It has one here on Osborne.
Osborne, that would likely be Sussex Realty, is that correct?
I don't know.
That's all the questions I have.
Okay, Maurice, any questions of the assessor?
Yeah, so you're saying the tax bill is also sent at this address?
Yes.
That the notice was sent to?
Yes.
Any communication after that, or you're not aware of anything else that came in on this?
We're here at the appeal, so it's my assumption that they received their assessment notice and all the other mailings that we sent.
Okay, at that address.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Upton, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Do you have anything in your file on how long you've been sending stuff to this address?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right, no other questions. You can proceed. Did you comment?
To redirect you, normally your report shows the years of each year request and whether they're compliant prior year or not. You don't have that historical list anymore?
No.
I have no evidence to present. I should have done some work on this, but through a rush I forgot to do that. But I do know we had it under appeal for 2018. I do know that Sussex has been managing for a very long time. That we were, and the financial statements that I have in my brief are from Sussex. So to me, they should have sent it to Sussex. Unless there was some kind of directions that they would have, which they could have provided today, saying that they should send it to this particular address instead of Sussex. That's all that I have to say.
Questions of him? Of Mr. Dupont?
No, thank you.
Bob?
Do you have any knowledge of the name you signed for, A-Kaur, A-K-A-U-R?
No.
You don't know that person?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Maurice?
The assessment notice, do you have any evidence where it was sent?
Oh. No, I don't have that part of my evidence.
So you've got no evidence to support this? Okay, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, now the Boeing appeal established that the request for information is to be sent to the register owner unless there is something otherwise. I guess that would make it incumbent upon you to provide something otherwise, that the address of the registered owner is not the correct place to send it. Do you have anything like that?
No.
Okay. I guess that's all my questions, so we will...
Or do we have summation?
Okay, go ahead.
Or argument? Normally there would be corporation's branch documentation to show where the corporation is residing, or they would have something from land titles. This is the address for service from land titles. Normally would have something to show that they sent it to the right address. They usually have a history for the last 4 or 5 years as to where the questionnaires went, whether they're compliant or not. So they have a whole bunch of information missing. And she does not know who's at that particular address, who the number company is, et cetera, et cetera. So I would say this is insufficient evidence.
Okay, do you have any summation you wish to do?
No, just that the majority of the properties that are under a numbered company, I don't know the names of who or the name of the person who receives the mail. It's not standard for the property assessment department to be aware of the clerks that receive the mail for a numbered company.
Okay, thank you. We will consider this then. Take a break. Okay, we've conferred on this, and we're going to grant a non-cooperation. There's no evidence that this is the incorrect address for this numbered company. The numbered company is the registered owner. So in this case, we will grant the non-co-op. Now, I guess, considering that, Henry, I guess you got to decide if you want to proceed with this appeal or withdraw it.
Well, proceed.
Well, the reason being is if we do grant a reduction, it's of course will be deferred for 1 year, and if it goes to the municipal board, they cannot. If they decide not to grant the non-co-op, it will only apply to any subsequent reduction that they might make. So the initial reduction at this board would not be challengeable to the municipal board. So that's the only reason I'm asking.
I'll proceed.
Okay, you can proceed then.
First of all, the cap rate study.
Oh, we got that.
My page is open on page 2. Page 1.
Wait a second. Haven't seen me since last week.
you've seen this many times. So that you have what we asked for cap rates in the first page. We've added over time that on the first page, change in the cutoff year. I think there's a lot of apartments. The greatest amount of apartments built by age category was built in the 70s. And they're all relatively the same, so to me it's improper to have the cutoff in the middle of the 70s. You would have similar properties with different cap rates. Page, these are cap rates. You've probably seen those. For today, the 2995 and up is the newer property. We do have 3 new properties. 333 Ward, 718 Beach, 100 Southview. They're all built in the 2000. The cap rate is 5.38 with those 3 comparables. Then we have 5 sales built 66 to 74 at 6.15, and 1 sale built 46 to 59 at 6.26. 4 is we've changed this report over time. Is that we now show the interest rates. So the Bank of Canada benchmark interest rate increased by 75 basis points between April 1st, 2016 and April 1st, 2018. And the 5-year mortgage rates increased by 60 basis points, over 0.5%. And then the table above, Collier's unadjusted, shows that the cap rates increased by 0.25%. The high rise from low and high, they're both 4%. For the low rises, the low remained at 5, but the high went up to 0.25. The Colliers is usually for investment grade properties, so the superior properties. CBRE shows high rise A, high rise B, because there's no high rise A. But the low rise B, which would be all the apartments that we have built before the 2000 or so. These are low rise B, and they start at 5.75 to 6. Something the county would get minimum 5.75 for those properties. And then, as you know, that we have documents and income approaches on each one of those cap rates. We have, and then the next report, the repair maintenance study. That report changes every time we're here, because we add properties that we have on the docket. So page 1, it shows that we now have 101 properties for the different categories, 1 to 15. We have the CMHC rents on top, and CMHC rents are higher than we have in our repair and maintenance study. They're index number 5, 60, 74. They have average 1 and 2 bedroom 989, 75 to 89, 982, and 1990, 2004, 1076, and newer properties 1292. But those includes high rise and renovated properties. So those figures are skewed to the high side. So our table, the ones that we have the most is index number 5, high rise 1946, 1979. When we say 1946, there's basically no high rise was built until I believe 1962. So we have 20 properties. The actual R&M is 2012 this week. We stabilized at 1731. And the second last column shows that the average rents after discounts, but before vacancy, was $9.99. So that the high rises average about 1,000 rent. Then the other row that has the most is the number 10, low rise, 1960, 79, 37 properties now. The actual average 1585, we stabilized at 1423, and the average rent for that group is 814. I would say that is more accurate than the CMHC, which would include renovated properties. We separate them. And we separate the high rises also from that. So the, for low rises, rent, 814 is the average. So we don't stabilize at average. We show that to show that if assessor wants to use an average, it would have to go at least to those amounts. Now the two, next number 5 would be page 6. Now we list them by the third last column by an amount of potential rents. So the first one has a potential rent of $7.99. Repairing minutes is $15.08. And then the rents tend to increase. Well, they do increase on that to $13.17, and there the repair maintenance is higher, $33.66. So the repair maintenance tends to increase with the rents, so they match. And actually, if you spend more money on repair maintenance, you can get higher rents. And then the other large group is page 11. There again, we have the same thing, so that it starts off with the rents. The low rent is the $256 per suite. Just for rents after discount, $256. And it goes all the way up to $1,072. And the repair maintenance is low and it tends to go higher. All the different departments are going through different paths, have different levels of repair and maintenance, and that's what matches their the rents and the repair and maintenance are matched, so that usually the higher the rent, the higher the repair and maintenance, unless they're new or renovated. There is some show renovated, and actually those renovated would have usually lower repair maintenance but higher rents. So that would be my study on the repair maintenance. We can go to the subject property. 299 coming up. Show the photo, page 1. 2 is the aerial photo. 3 shows the map. So it's in St. Norbert. So it shows that it's south of the perimeter highway. So page 6, cap rate we have. For this 5 1/4, if you recall, cap rate said we had C properties built in 2000, after 2000. They had 5.3 or something cap rate, so we believe that our cap rate 5 1/4 is very well documented and supported. Page 7, the spreadsheet we have on this. And before we go to the spreadsheet, we should go to the data, which is page 11, same as in Suntex. It shows the revenue and expense. They have a breakdown of repair and maintenance. There, the recognition of the flooring is quite low, 21 per suite, 105 per suite, and it should be because it's relatively lower. Elevator cost on page 11, we allowed 50%. It's on the high side. Then prior years, starts page 13. There again, the appliance is very low. The flooring is 184 per suite. Part of our repair maintenance study, we have some data from K4 in regards to the cost of our carpeting and appliances. And the appliances are, I believe, $1,670 or almost $1,700 per suite. And the last 10 years, it would be $170 per suite per year, and the carpeting is $4,000 per suite. That would be at 10 years, it would be $400 per suite for repair and maintenance would be maximums that we would have. We also have 2015 statements. So back to page 7. We have the 3 years. The rents that it has They have a discount, 107,000. So our line 3, our rents, 974, it's 1289 per suite. Yet it's still much lower than the assessor. The assessor has $200,000 rents, higher than actual. And after we add parking and miscellaneous income, line 13 we're 988, and the assessor at 1168. So we have much lower rents. Now we stabilize expenses, or line 31, our total expenses is 434 versus the assessor 405. So we're about 30,000 higher. And we have each individual expense. The insurance is not shown in the statements. We estimated $250 per suite. We show the utilities, which we stabilized at the 2017. Repair and maintenance, we had the 3 years. We have the breakdown, so we were able to remove any CapEx or non-recurring items. The repair and maintenance is $1,095 per suite, and actually that's on the low side because it's newer. And then we calculated the tax below based on the previous assessment, the 2017 assessment, times the mill rate, etc. Got the 169,000. So then we get the NOI 555, which is 200,000 less than the assessor, a bit more than that. And so that we end up with a value of $10,568. And I believe our value is site specific. The assessor has much higher rents, and their expense ratio is quite low. This property is at St. Norbert. That may affect the cap rate, but we're not asking for a higher cap rate because of St. Norbert, but it's inferior location. And the rents may be lower than what the assessor is doing. Could be because of this location. We're going site specific, and that would be our value.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Any questions?
Yes. The rent discounts. Do we know what those rent discounts are?
No, I don't have the rent rolls, but they do show rent discounts on the financial statement, so we go over what the financial statements indicate.
Okay, so so it's not attributable to vacancy, or is this part of the reporting rent to Manitoba Tenancy Branch as opposed to what they actually receive?
Well, usually there's discounts. The rents, asking rents is usually what's approved by rent guidelines, and then discounts is what they're able to achieve, so they discount the rents to match the market.
Okay. So are they reporting the rents that they're to the department, that they're reporting to residential tenancies? And those rents are unachievable?
I'm not sure about what you're saying. You're reporting to residential tenancies. They have rents that are approved, and then they less than the approved rents. I don't think they have to give discount information to residential tenancies rents.
Okay, but when they're reporting to us, they're reporting that those are the rents that they receive, and then they're taking discounts off of that.
Yes.
Okay.
So they show discounts in the financial operating statement.
So when we're looking at our model and we're looking at comparable rents for being reported to a different rent than you would like us to attribute to the property.
The way you build your model should not be including discounts. If you do include discounts, show face rents on all of your properties for your models, then your model is totally wrong. You should be showing rents after discounts.
Well, we're showing the rents that we're getting reported aren't the rents that are being achieved, right?
It's up to you to read the financial statements.
Okay.
And the rent rolls, they'll show all the discounts. It's up to you to use rent after discounts. If you don't, then your model is faulty.
Thank you.
That's all, thank you.
That's it? Okay, Maurice, any questions?
Yeah, I'm concentrating mostly on the income side. On page 7, there's if you look at the EGI, there's $180,000 difference, which is considerable. So I go back to the mailers on page 11, and I also looked at the 2 previous years, and we're in the range of 975,000. You're 988 in 17. You're 976 in 15, and you're I think it was 975 in 16. So basically, the rent hasn't changed in the last 3 years. Is that a fair comment?
Line 3 shows the rents have gone up small, gradually, 945 to 959 to 974. The parking income has gone down. So that the 988, it's a small increase of line 13. They're just going up gradually. So the market is having difficulty with those rents at that location. $1,289 in St. Norbert seems a bit high.
Okay, so basically what you're telling us is you've used the statements to come up with the actuals. And on the expense side, you've eliminated whatever doesn't apply. Is that correct?
I made adjustments to repair maintenance for one item. We allowed 50% of the elevator for a cost of 2017. Then we did a 3-year average for repair maintenance, and other figures are, we calculate taxes and we estimated insurance.
Yeah, that was my only question on the real estate taxes, item 30. It says calculated. Could you explain what that means? Because there's nothing mentioned in either column, and then you said it's calculated. So on page 7, I don't know if everybody's following me, but I'm seeing calculated on the right there. So what does that mean?
For some properties, the owners pay their own insurance and real estate taxes, so the property manager does not pay those. So now we have statements from Sussex, and Sussex does not pay for those 2 items. So we have to go out and get the taxes. So in this particular case, we had the 2017 assessment, we multiplied by mill rates, and we got the taxes.
Well, that's what you did.
And the insurance that we used, $250 per suite from other properties that we looked at.
Oh, yeah, same with that. I see.
Now, the assessor may have the 2017 taxes, and I would think they would likely agree with our tax amount at 159, because that's the way we calculate the property.
And on the cap rate, it's based on what you've explained to us. Your lowest rate is 5.25.
Right.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, Bob, any questions?
Yeah, your potential market gross rent, you don't include any, this isn't vacancy, this is discounts to attract tenants, right?
Right.
You have to, because there's no vacancy shown either on the cash flow statements.
Sussex always show rent as received, so we're unable to calculate vacancy. So the residential rent they show is after vacancy.
After vacancy, okay. That's fine, thank you.
On that, do you have any idea what the vacancy rate is in this building?
No. Sometimes they give us the rent rolls, we can go to the rent rolls, but I don't see it in the assessor's report, nor in my evidence, so,
Well, you wouldn't see him in the assessor's report because he didn't get anything back.
yeah. No, so we're going with whatever actual vacancy they have. And all 3 years are relatively stable, so I would assume there's not much vacancy.
Okay. All right, I'm just wondering if we're looking at that 10% vacancy or a 1% vacancy.
I have no idea what the vacancy is, but it's very stable, so therefore we're going with actual income at whatever vacancy you have.
Okay, thank you very much. You can proceed then with your presentation.
I have some rebuttal.
Sure.
Can I do it now?
Yep, do the rebuttal first. Is this going to apply to all the properties?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then don't write on this because we'll probably need it for every
Yes, then I
file.
will need the copies.
No, we'll-
Please don't write on
We'll
them.
not write on.
You happen to have any? No, that's okay.
If we first look at the stapled package on the first page, and if we look at page labeled page 3, this page of Henry's.
Oh, Henry's?
Yes. If we look at his cap rate chart and we look at the summary in the rebuttal. We've done a calculation of the cap rates using our information and stabilizing it as by the opinion of someone different than Henry. And it just shows that using the same submitted information, we have different cap rates based on various stabilization techniques, and it's just using your opinion. You can have the same information and come up with very different numbers. So we do have Henry's capitalization rates here, and we have a comparison from the Department of, from using the same numbers, and we've got the income statements attached, and just the way that we're balanced out with their capitalization calculations, we come up with very different numbers. It's just a statement on stabilization of expenses and looking at capitalization rate. It's an art, not a science, and you get very different numbers. And if we take a look at the other page that I handed out and look at the Altus repair and maintenance study at the chart on page 1, while keeping it's just taking a look at the repair and maintenance rates that have been used for the capitalization rate properties and the properties that we have under appeal today. And we can look at the study and just see that there's a lot of variety in what is used and how it's used, and it's part of opinion of value. Everybody has their own opinion. And these numbers, there's a lot of variety in them. You'll see that the average repair and maintenance per unit on the capitalization rate properties is $629, while the average R&M per unit on the properties under appeal is $1,403. So there's a wide range of values that get used. Thank you.
If you have any questions on the rebuttal evidence.
Your first page, your rebuttal, 210 St. Mary's, sold 2018, you're showing a 2018 statement, that would be after the sale?
Yes.
So why would you use figures after the sale?
We're showing the difference in the R&M.
And the R&M is 2617, would you stabilize this property at 2617 R&M if it came here?
Probably not.
So therefore your cap rate 4.2% should be thrown out because it's not reasonable?
Well, I'm thinking that perhaps part of the R&M might have been some renovations and things, so perhaps this property was sold for renovation.
Why do you bother coming here with a cap rate 4.12 as a rebuttal based on the really high repair maintenance, which you would not stabilize at? Why did you even show this type of information?
I'm sorry, is there a question in there?
Why did you show something for which you would not rely upon? You would not rely on 2600 repair maintenance for this property if you came here. So why would you show that to the board as rebuttal? It's not proper information.
We're looking at the variety of information that we have.
And you're looking at the information after the sale, 2018. Why should we consider that for cap rate?
We're taking a look at what's happening and various of opinion.
And you see 403 St. Anne's, I'm not sure how you would be calculating 5.46. You show 2015 IOE, INE, which is after the sale again. So what are you doing? Where are you getting the 5.46?
I didn't do the calculations. One of my coworkers did, so I'm not sure how it was stabilized. It's just showing that there's a variety of different opinions to value. And taking the same numbers and applying them with different stabilizing methods comes with different cap rates.
So 155 might, and you don't actually have any rebuttal evidence there? You would agree?
Sorry, what?
I said, do you agree you have no rebuttal evidence for 155 might?
Well, we can see
I would agree because there's no information given.
Right. 512 Balmoral, my cap rate is 6.75, yours 6.79. So would you agree you're not rebutting my evidence on that one?
It would appear that our different opinions line up. Yes.
215 Laveranvi, sold March 2017. You're showing 2017 data, which is after the sale there again. Would you agree that's not a valid comparison or use of data?
Sure.
Do you know how you stabilized 215 Laveranvi to get your stabilized 50,000?
No, as I said, this was put together by a coworker.
Two Sun
worked
Lang. So Two Sun Langside, you're showing data 2018 after the sale also. Would you agree that's not valid data?
That 1 year, yes. That's
718 Beach, I have 5.42%, you have 5.46. Would you agree that that is not rebuttal because it supports mine?
I would say that it's showing that sometimes our methods come up with similar answers, so yes.
And 100 Southview was sold in 2015, and yet they're showing 2016, 2017 data. Would you agree that's not valid data?
Yeah.
And would you agree that all of those that you don't show how you arrived at it, you don't have a stabilized revenue and expense?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Would you agree that you have not stabilized the revenue and expense on any of these properties to get a proper cap rate?
Just because all of the information was not included for the math doesn't mean that it wasn't stabilized.
Would you agree that you have not shown any stabilized
I don't.
revenue expense here today?
I would say that we don't include all of our calculations.
It appears to me that you're doing shortcuts and you're just showing some actual revenue and expense, and you have not, in fact, done a full 3 years or 2 years, whatever information has stabilization.
I think on some of the situations we have, on some of them it's difficult because when people don't include their information or it's not submitted to us for whatever reason, it limits our ability to do so.
And this information that the other page that you have on differences in R&M, so what's the point there?
It's showing that the differences in R&Ms, the way that the R&M is used and the way that it's stabilized does impact both the value and the cap rate. So taking a look at the differences, it makes it difficult to. It's basically a statement saying that appears to be very low R&M on the cap rates, where when we look at it, it looks as though there's significant renovation done on some of these properties very shortly after they're bought, which would be why there's low R&M right before they are used for the capitalization rate study. And it appears that if you look at your R&M maintenance study and you look at the R&M that is included on the properties that are under appeal, it doesn't seem that some of these don't seem to be in alignment with the evidence that you're given and the amount that's applied to the property.
Would you agree for the properties under appeal today, we should go on site-specific repair and maintenance?
See, part of this is that when we're looking at site-specific repair and maintenance, the value that we achieve, it's changed because of different stabilization techniques.
I'm not sure you answered. Do you agree that we should be doing site-specific repair and maintenance
Well,
for subjects today?
we've been directed by the municipal order, which one is that? That Marion Holdings, that we are to be going site-specific. And there's a variety of ways to apply that.
Now, of my 9 comparables, I believe not one of them was renovated after purchase. And you stated something to the fact that they were renovated after purchase. Would you agree that that particular statement you did was incorrect?
I would say that we have evidence of very high R&M on one of them afterwards, and we've got renovation costs on one of them that it's difficult for us to verify because we don't have permits, and we have evidence that shows that there are some renovation costs and very high R&M that don't fall in alignment with the R&M before purchase.
Now, my evidence on page 3 shows that 3 properties were renovated prior to sale and 3 properties are new. Would you agree those are good reasons why the repair and maintenance should be lower, because they're renovated or new?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all the questions I have.
Okay, Maurice, any questions on the rebuttal? Cindy's rebuttal.
No, I think it'll be up to us to weigh whatever evidence we get on both sides, and then we make a decision. I have no questions.
Okay, Bob?
No, none for me, thank you.
And I have none, so you can proceed with your main presentation.
building.
No, sorry, we were at the question period for Mr. Dupa. Any more questions
I
on?
thought we already did questions.
No, you started off with your rebuttal and we didn't do the questions for Henry.
No, we did do questions on Henry. I asked him about the discounts. That was quite a while ago.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, never mind. I'm behind the times
The
as
only,
usual.
well, no, there's only one thing. We did not ask any questions about all this stuff he gave us. And maybe I could just make a comment based on what we've heard before, because that's going to be coming today. Basically, what you're saying on the repairs, on your repair, let's not go to it, and because I think I've heard that before, that's when rents are under 1,000 ballpark, the repair and maintenance could be up to 1,500, while it's over 1,000, you'll maximize it at 2,500. Basically, high rent, higher repair. I just want, because all this stuff here, we've got to bring it down to what makes sense when we look at it. Am I correct in what I'm saying?
Yeah, the repair and maintenance study is, I would say that for high rises, they tend to have higher rents. They have the elevators, etc. So the repair and maintenance are higher. And their actual repair and maintenance 2011, nice stabilized at 1731. So I would say a maximum for high rises would be around the 2,000 or so. A garden type apartment would be maximum would be 2,500. And for low rises, it's around the 1,500 average. So the maximum again would be close to 2,000 per suite. And if you go above the average, it should be because they have high rents or something. In order to maintain those high rents, they have to have the higher repair and maintenance.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so you can keep on with your presentation. Now that I found where I am.
Thank you. Okay, so this is one building, 4 stories. It was built in 2009 with 63 suites and 90 outdoor parking spots. On page 2, we have our income value summary. We have 7 one-bedroom, 52 bedroom, 6 3-bedroom. With an average monthly rent per unit at $1,583.56. We have a vacancy rate of 2.4%, an expense rate at 34.67%, and a capitalization rate at 5%, giving us the $15,267,000. Thank you.
Okay, Henry, questions?
Page 3, your rent comparable.
Yes.
Subjects in St. Norbert, so any of your comparables in St. Norbert?
These are in the same market region. I don't think that any of them are in St. Norbert, but they are in the same market region.
Okay, so 32.99 time now, you have average rent 15.83. Your comparables of 14.89, 9.50, 9.70, 13.50, 7.30, they're all lower than the subject.
Yes.
So would that not indicate that we should have lower rents than 15.83?
They're also, for the most part, smaller. Looking at the suite mix. The suite mix doesn't precisely match up, so they've got, some of them have more one bedroom. I think that the one on McGilvery there is also newer construction. It's a little bit bigger, similar rent. It's a matter of opinion.
Your comparable number 1 is 1319 square feet, subject's 1195. It's a much larger property,
Yeah, that's
Suite.
yeah.
and that's your highest rent.
Yes.
And it should be lower for a subject due to size and location. Would you agree that McGilvery would be superior location to St. Norbert?
I don't know that McGillivray would be a superior location than St. Norbert. That's a matter of opinion.
And then the other comparable has second highest rent is number 4, 1350 rent versus subject 1583, so $230 less than the subject.
Yep.
And it's newer than the subject and in a better location. Would you agree that subject rents are too high?
No, I don't agree. But, yes, but that comparable number 4 is smaller.
Would you agree that none of your comparables actually support a rent of $15.83 per suite?
I feel they show within the range. They are lower, but they are also, some of them are smaller. They're in the same market region, but there's a difference in neighborhood. There's different suite mixes for all of them.
You show a comparable number 3 and number 5. They're built 1955 and 1861. So why would you show some very old properties to compare to a property built in 2009?
I was trying to find ones for buildings with a similar suite mix, which is very hard to do.
So you're agreeing they're not comparable?
I don't know that they're not comparable. They're older. The building itself is older. I'm not sure when the last time they had renovations or construction is.
Number 2 is built 1909 to 1920, so extremely old. So why would you show this property as comparable?
Because of the suite mix and because of the size. But it is older, so there is a difference in the price. It's all a matter of opinion.
All questions?
Okay, Maurice, any questions?
Yeah, is this all model driven, what you've got there?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Well,
No, I think they've been covered, thank you.
okay. Do you want submission here?
Sure. Yeah, I'm very disappointed with the assessor's rebuttal evidence. I've seen this before, and if they want to rebut the cap rate, they should come up with better information than that. So they're using information after the sale. They did not stabilize. They actually say that the one has a very high R&M, 2,600. That's what they use. If we use the high R&M, we'd have a lower cap rate. They should be stabilizing. They should actually give proper rebuttal evidence, and very disappointed on that. Thank you.
Okay, any submission?
Capitalize on the comment that Henry made about using the higher R&M with the lower cap rate, but I think I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay, maybe we'll have a 5-minute break now. I'll come back at 10 after 10. Thank you. Let's proceed on to 500 Centennial Streets. So you can proceed.
Thank you. This is file number 19-2547, roll number 12071984000. We have an assessed value of $1,554,000. This is class code 20, liability status is taxable, apartment building, 1 building, 3 stories, built in 1959 with 15 suites and 10 outdoor parking spots. On page 2, we have the income value summary. We have 6 one-bedroom suites and 9 two-bedroom suites. with an average monthly rent per unit at $924.76. We have a vacancy rate of 2.4%, an expense rate at 49.29%, and a capitalization rate at 5.3%, giving us the $1,554,000. We have some comparable properties on page 3. These are in the same market region. They are 2- and 3-story buildings. And the rents range from $752 to $1,275. Thank you.
Any questions, Henry?
In the past, you had an effective age of 1973 in this building. Were you aware of that?
Considering that's not the effective age on that building now, no.
Do you know if it has been improved, renovated in the past?
Considering it's a 1959 building and it's still being occupied, I'm assuming that some work at some point has been done on it. I don't have any records of the work, the extent of the work.
All questions?
Okay, Maurice, questions?
I was just looking at the cap rate on the 1959 building, so 5.3, that's what the city uses as a model. And this one?
Yes.
It's all model driven?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Did you override the model in any way with the report from the owner?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, did you check the financial statements, see if you were close?
If we look on page 7, our average monthly rent per unit is $924.76, and the reported rent on the 1-bedroom apartments is $939.50, which is higher. And on the 2-bedroom units, which there are more of them than the 1-bedroom units, we have a reported $1,045.56.
Okay. All right, no more questions then, so Henry, you can proceed.
The photo on page 1, some older apartments. We show 1973 effective age, and the assessor does not. The page 2 shows aerial photo, so a bit of parking in the back. The page 3 shows the map. It's just east of Keniston. The cap rate, we're saying it should be 6% based on its age of 1973. And if it were 1959, it would be 6.25. And now, if I would have known, I probably would have used the assessor's age. We got that from previous reports. I have a 2016 report that shows effective age 1973 from the assessor. Now, I don't know if they had that for 2018 also or not. No, so we're at page 7 now. The rents were $163,000 before discounts, 2013, and now $195,000. 2005, I looked it up, but it was $115,000 rent, so it's a huge increase in 2007, the rents were $126,000, so it was improved over time, and the rents are $901 per suite, which is on the high side for a building built 1959. It's only 15 suites, but it has high rents. And then line 13, we're similar to the assessor. Repair and maintenance on line 27, we have 5 years, it's $17.44 per suite. So we have relatively high rents maintained by high repair and maintenance. It's above the average for that age group of $1,500, so it's not that high, but still slightly higher than the average. Line 33, net operating income is $81,000 versus the assessor's $82,000, so we're similar. So down to a cap rate, we're saying 6%, the assessor's 5.3%. Our cap rate study does provide you with cap rate comparables, and I believe it very clearly demonstrates it should be 6%. It should not be 5.3 or 5.5. It should be 6%. So I believe we should go with whatever the evidence is on cap rates. And we have the data following page 11 and 12. I have some remarks. The price purchase is only 93 per suite versus the maximum 167. Has 0 flooring for 2017. Then 2016 starts on page 13. So the appliance is 42 per suite, so a bit on the low side. We've allowed only 50% of the carpentry for that year. Flooring is $213 per suite, which is half, which would be half of normal at $400 per suite. Page 15. The appliance purchase was $287 per suite, and we dropped it to $167 per suite based on our repair and maintenance study, so we allowed 58%. We allowed only 10% miscellaneous for that year, and carpeting was high at $949 per suite, and we allowed 42% or $399 per suite, which is the maximum from our repair and maintenance study. Then we allowed also 72% of painting and decorating on page 16. Page 17, windows and doors, flooring, we allowed 76%. To get it to $400 per suite. Page 13 is the, 2013 is on page 19. There was no adjustment to repair and maintenance for that year. So that's my report.
Okay, any questions of Mr. DuPont?
Just so that we're clear, the only big difference between us is the cap rate?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, Maurice?
Oh, thank you, I'm fine.
Bob?
Good for me, thank you.
Okay, and I have no questions. It is basically a cap rate issue. Okay, we will go to 152 Merrington. What area of the city is this? I'm familiar with Merrington.
If you look on the back page, it shows that the map, on the back page of my report shows a small map of the area.
Oh, okay, that's up Pembroke, all right. I should know that we're doing properties in this area of town today. Okay, you can proceed.
This is file number 19-1804, roll number 030911891100. The assessed value is $11,079,000. This is class code 40, so institutional property with a liability status of S. So it's taxable, school tax exempt. This is the parcel uses as an apartment building with 2 buildings, 3 stories, built in 1998 with 59 suites and 58 indoor parking spots and 16 outdoor parking spots. On page 2, we have our income value summary. This shows that there are 9 one-bedroom, 48 two-bedroom, and 1 3-bedroom suites with with a total of 58 suites. Average monthly rent per unit is $1,336.02. We've applied a vacancy rate of 2.4%, an expense rate of 38.96%, and a capitalization rate of 5%, giving us the $11,079,000. On page 3, we have some rental comparables ranging from $1,005 to $1,406. And then we've got income information, page 79. And then we've got the map and an overhead picture on page 10. Thank you.
Okay. Questions, Henry?
Yes, page 3. Your rent comparables. Your number 2 is built 1913, subject 1998. Would you agree it's not very comparable?
I wouldn't necessarily agree. I'm not familiar enough with the property to know when there were renovations or the other features.
Comparable number 3, one Greyfriars that's owned by Ladco, and it's a garden type apartment. Would you agree?
Yes.
So would you agree that's not comparable because it's a different type of property?
See, not necessarily. I look at different things when I'm looking for a place to rent. So as far as the rent comparables, I'm not sure the shape of the building really impacts as much as that. I would still say it's comparable to put some thought into.
Now, page 1, the gross floor area for the subject is shown, 89,868.
Yes.
Now it has the indoor parking, 58 stalls.
Yes.
So your gross floor area includes the parking area?
I think so.
Your comparable number 1 has only 1,060 square feet, yet has high rent. So would you say it has no indoor parking? Do you know whether it has or not?
Not a clue.
Same thing with 1032 Wilkes. Do you know it has indoor parking or not?
I don't know.
Page 5, your cap rates. Would you agree that your first 2 comparables were bought and intent to renovate?
I would agree that the first one was, with the understanding that the amount that it was reported that it was going to be renovated was 10% of the value, so it's under IAAO standards. It would be considered not significant enough to remove it from the study. The following 2 properties were reported in 2019 that there was an intent to sell, an intent to renovate in the sale.
So do you agree that the cap rates are usually on the low side when they intend to renovate?
Yes.
That's all questions.
Continue, Marie's questions?
Yeah, there's certainly the figures shown on the mailer and page 7 and 8 certainly don't work out with what's on the gross potential rent.
Yes.
On the other hand, on page 9, it does show that there's quite a waiting list. There's 70 on the waiting list, and it shows 59 suites at 620, so obviously they're getting money somewhere else. Because this is, I don't know what kind of building it is, but I know that it's school tax exempt. So they must be getting some type of income somewhere else. Can you comment on that?
I agree with your statement, but this is all the information that I have.
So you have, eh? So, and they got 59 suites, you've got 58. And the mailer on page 8 at the top says the 30th of June, but then it's mailed in the 27th of May, and then 17th of May, and it's signed the 28th of April 2018. So obviously there's some, because I was trying to find out the date of page 9. Obviously it's got to be, because there's C attached, so it's got to be the April 28, 2018
Yes.
statement, I guess. So you can't tell us why the income is of that amount? It's a model-driven situation?
It's model-driven.
I don't know what else to ask. 2 buildings, 3 stories? Okay. Okay, I guess the appellant might help us a bit on this one. Thank you.
Thank
Well,
You didn't inspect the building,
you. No.
and do you have any idea what takes place in this building with the institution?
Off the top of my head, I think it might be a seniors, some type of seniors, but I'm not, I don't know for sure.
Okay, well, maybe we'll get some information on that. Okay, thank you.
okay, that's going to be my question. Is this seniors housing with rent geared to income?
That'll be something.
Something like that?
Let's see.
All right, you can proceed then. If you would clarify the questions on.
Redirect, would you say that this property is a light lease?
That's entirely possible.
What questions I have
One here.
here? A rebuttal evidence, I forgot to get that to you a while back.
Some more?
Yeah.
Joe?
Yeah, I've all seen this before. The first page 2, so the first thing is the precedent from the board. Order A18.31 stated that sufficient concerns were raised by appellant and 3 regarding the purchaser's intention to significantly renovate or alter the structures. So the board did not rely on the accessory comparables. And the 3 sales, 191 Roach, the property questionnaire shows that the intended to renovate and had low rents of 63 to start with. Number 3, point number 3, sale number 2 on Talbot, they had the intention to renovate and they raised the rent by $300 per suite, which was significant. 4, 25 Maxwell was purchased with intent to renovate and they spent $413,000 on that and the intent to raise the rent over 3 years. And it shows the actual renovation cost and the financials. And 333 Ward, we have an income approach and supporting documents. He says she does not. I believe that we have not met the burden of proof. And they don't show how they arrive at their cap rates on any of them. So I believe we should throw out their cap rates evidence.
Too much. Wouldn't make that much noise. It's only my, it's only
Your label.
it's not important.
Okay, is that your rebuttal?
That's my rebuttal.
Okay, first of all, do you have any questions on the rebuttal?
No, thank you.
Okay, Bob or Maurice, any questions on
Well,
it?
thank you.
No question.
Okay, now on your main presentation then.
Page 1 shows the photo. Built 1998. The life lease. The life lease, the rents are based on the cost to operate. Page 2 shows the aerial photo. 74 parking stalls, 58 indoor, 16 outdoor. Page 3 shows the map, where it is, so I'm coming up. South of Barrenmore. Page 6. A lot of the life leases are at or near the market. This one has relatively low rents, so we use the Chimichi rents. So Chimichi, we have that in the appendix. But built 1990 to 2004, Chimichi has rent $978 and for one bedroom and $1173 for two bedrooms. Units 50 to 99, $943, $1181. 3 bedrooms are up to $1,505. And for Gary area, $975, $166, $1,396. So the average of those three indicators are $965, $1,118, $1,451. We adjust up by 5% for size to get those rents multiplied by the number of suites. So before adjustment, the rents would be $797, and after adjustment, we have $837. Cap rate, because the subject is built 1998, we have the newer property, which our age rate is 1998, and that's 5.25. So page 7. So the rents that we have from CMHC comes to $837 on line 3. The actual rent is $620, $494 for 2017. That's the actual rent they get, and usually the rest that they get is based on their cost to operate and the financing cost put together, and that's what they can charge on the life lease. So we've used CMHC adjusted upward by 5% for large suite sizes. Then we apply the assessor's vacancy, 2.4. We add the laundry and parking, and we get line 13 $845,000 versus the assessor at 97. Now the remarks we have line 4, which is the 2018 assessor rec was $801,000 for the rents. Now the rents are 16.5% higher. So at that time, the assessor was looking at it and said, well, the rents are too high. So now our rents are $837, which is slightly higher what the assessor was recommending for 2018. Now we also add the laundry parking, the assessor had that included. So for expenses, we stabilize a fully normal way for all these items. The 923 utilities are going down, 71, 64, 59. We use a lower year. The repair and maintenance is line 27. We have 2014 missing, so we have 4 years. So we average 2013, 15, 17. So we exclude the high year in 2016, which was 241. So that's 1672 per suite. Now, part of the rents that you can get is how much money they spend on that. For taxes, we calculated that cost code 20 was a residential 2 rents, which we normally do for properties that are school exempt. Was a settlement last year in the municipal board in that regard, but the assessor agreed to that. So our rent tax calculation is shown at the bottom. It comes to $116,000. So our NOI is $459,000 divided by 5.25 cap rate. We get $8,753,000 compared to the assessor $11 million. Other remarks is there was permits for balcony enclosures in 2016, 2018, and it's a light lease. We can go to the data. So page 11 is the start of our CMHC, and I've circled the amounts that we have on the report, where I get the data for the calculations of the rent shown on those pages. Now, page 15 is the start of their financial that they have provided the assessors, the questionnaires. So it does show those rent 518, and there's no subsidies shown. I believe there's no subsidies. The rents are strictly low, mainly because they have low operating costs. Interest they show there's 56,000, so it's relatively low interest for a large building, and that's one of the reasons they have lower rents. Page 17 is the rent schedule, which I believe was in the assessor list also. Now it shows each of the suite types and the rent that they charge. So the highest rent is $946. They're going with a lot higher rent. And they do show the square footage per suite. The second last column. Now they don't show a waiting list for any of the suites. And this is breakdown. Waiting list is not available. So page 18 is the 2016 statement, and 20 is the 2015, etc. Page 28 is the 2017 taxes, so where we get the assessments, and then we add the school tax in there. Their school tax exempt. Page 30 is the 2018, or earlier 2019 actually. The assessor made a recommendation to reduce in 9,096, and he reduced on page 31. He reduced the rent to 801,096. Page 33, we repeat our income approach. Page 34 shows the decision of the board for 2019. The board reduced it to 8,663,000, and there was no further school board appeal. And the board used 5.25 cap rate. That's my report.
Any questions?
So the average repair maintenance is 1,672 per suite?
Yes.
Okay. Is that reflective of your maintenance study? Or... Okay, sorry, never mind. All good, thank you very much.
Okay, Bernice, questions?
Just a little slow there, sir.
That's okay.
So the last assessment was based on the rec of the assessor? Is that what you're saying? On page 34?
The assessor recommended 9,096 based on 5% cap rate. So the board used the assessor's NOI, but a 5.25 cap rate. So they changed the assessor's cap rate.
Okay. But they used the assessor's NOI at the time?
Right. Which was 454.
And you're relating that to page 33, I would assume? No? Or is that for something else? No, that's something else. So what are you trying to tell us on page 33 here?
Oh, that was included.
500 Balmoral?
Yeah, that's there by mistake. I don't know why that's there.
Oh, you don't know what's there. Okay.
It's just a test to see if you're reading.
Well, I'm looking at everything, but
I think I stole from another report there.
you must have. But I'm trying to see why you're putting that stuff in there, and that's all. So that's irrelevant, that one. So the NOI, last time, I don't know what it was, but that's fine. We can work those back, I guess. That's okay.
The NOI last time.
There was 454 that the assessor had.
454?
Yeah, on page 31.
Okay,
454,
I missed that, and the chair had fixed me on that one. 454 was the NOI last time. But maybe I've got a question for you. You mentioned that they did take out permits in 2016 to do stuff on the balconies, and I'm not sure what else. What did you tell us about that? Hard to pick up everything as it goes along, but I'm trying to get a little more information. What was done in 2016?
I didn't photocopy that building permit. We get building permits on all properties, and that was part of the report, and I should have copied it, but I didn't.
So what did you say on the evidence today?
I don't have those permits.
No, but what did you say about, you said they did balconies and something else?
Balcony enclosures.
And what? Balcony enclosures?
That's all they did.
That's all they did?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I had, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Okay, Bob, questions?
Yes, on the expenses reported by on the mailer is, I get it at $355,000. If you take out the replacement repairs, you look at their mailer, and it comes down total expenses that's $473,428.
Right?
And above that is replacement repairs, $118,000, which I assume is CapEx.
Yes, I only use the 103,534, my line 27.
But if you take out replacement repairs, they report at 118 out of the 473. You come down to 355, which is what the expenses are reported by the used by the assessor. See what I'm doing there? Take 473, take out 118.
Which are you on?
This is the mailer.
Yeah.
0630 217 mailer.
Yeah.
So if you take out the replacement repairs they've shown, it comes down to total expenses of 355, roughly. And the assessor's reporting or using expenses of 353. So they seem to be, this assessor seems to be right on with that number.
Except the taxes are shown as 86,000. We adjust the taxes to CC 20 at 116, so the taxes are for 30,000 higher.
The actual taxes are 30,000 higher?
Right? No, not the actual. If you were class code 20, residential 2, that's how we adjust. Their school tax exempt, and we input the class code 20 taxes for all those properties that are school tax exempt. It's something we do, and that's what the municipal board did last year for a settlement that we had on life leases when we went to the board. So we have a decision in that regard. It's something we've been doing for years, but it was accepted by the assessor.
And it makes a difference with 30,000, you said?
Right. So I stabilized at 459, 385 for total expenses after adding 30,000 for the taxes. I had line 17, 94,000 for the office and sundry. I'm not sure where that 94,000 came, so that's likely wrong. But nevertheless, I only stabilized at 4374 for that line,
I see that,
917.
yeah.
So the difference would be mainly in the, well, we stabilized certain items 3-year average and the repair and maintenance, et cetera, each individual item, and then we have the taxes, so that I believe we're expressed at 385 is reasonable.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and I have no questions, so thank you for your presentation. We are now on 2495 Pembina. So you can proceed.
This is file number 19-2138, roll number 0306052010. The assessed value is $12,597,000. This is class code 20 with a liability status of taxable. Parcel use code is apartments. One building, 6 stories, built in 1973. 101 suites, 125 outdoor parking spots. On page 2, we have 78 one-bedroom, 23 two-bedroom, with an average monthly rent at $1,112.97. We've applied a 2.4% vacancy, a 49.29% expense rate, and a 5.3 capitalization rate, giving the $12,597,000. On page 3, we have the rental comparables that range from $1,006 to $1,249. We have the mailer. And we have a picture on page 9, with a couple pictures, showing the map. This is on Pembina, between Killarney and Dalhousie. And there's the two overhead views, just to get a good look at what the building looks like. Thank you.
Any questions, Henry?
Yes, for page 3, rent comparables. Property is 6 stories, which would be a high-rise.
Yes.
If you go down the list, your comparables 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're 4, 2, 2, and 3 stories, and then the last one's 1 to 8. What does 1 to 8 mean for 2295 Pembina?
I'm not sure.
Effective year built, subjects 1973, then your comparables is 2012, 1980, 1992. So would you say those 3 are superior due to age?
Perhaps. I'm not sure about the upgrade or repair or history of repairs on the subject or on the comparables.
Now, all those rents that you have there, 1249, 1,000, they're all over 1,000 per suite. So would you agree that they either because they're newer or they have been renovated?
I just said that I don't know what the renovation history is, so I'm not sure.
Solid question.
Okay, Marie's questions?
Did you take a look at the mailer on this one on page 8?
I looked at it briefly.
And what was your conclusion that I assume this is a model-driven workup?
This is that their
No, your work up on page 2 is model,
Yes, it is.
okay? So they've got, on the income side, 1,205,626 as the effective gross. You've got 1316,546, which is $110,000 higher.
Yes, it is.
Did you analyze any of this to see if it made sense either on the revenue or expense side?
I took a look at the comparables, and I took a look at what was reported, and I put it together for the hearing. I didn't have a chance to look at this on a percent change perspective, so this was done, I looked at it after I was allowed to make changes.
Okay, so you did not use the mailer to back up whatever you have on page 2?
No.
This is a 1973 building, and you're at 530 on the cap. Okay. Mr. Chairman, it will allow me to look at stuff here because sometimes I'm a little slow. It says see tenant roster on page 7, so I'm assuming that they're referring to the expense and income statement on page 8.
They do include more. I don't include tenant names in my
okay,
report.
that's
So
what
if you
you
have a
don't do?
specific question, I can answer it, but I don't put tenant names.
No, but
into the public
I'm
record.
just trying to see if whatever's said here can support, or not sure that's the right word, but give us an idea if your model is proper or not. So maybe that's irrelevant to the tenant roster. So that's okay, I'll pass, Mr. Chairman, I'm done.
Okay, Bob?
No questions for me right now, thank you.
Okay, so you're at 5.3 cap rate, so you're at the 80th percentile. Is that because of the age?
It would be a combination. When we're looking at the cap rate, it's age, location, size,
Okay,
etc.
all right, thank you. You can proceed, Henry.
Page 1, the photo, 6-story, call that a high rise, I guess it's a mid-rise. Page 2 shows the aerial photo. Page 3 shows where it is, Pembina, near kind of highway. So it's shows there Richmond West. So property built 1973, so our page 6, our cap rate is at equals 6%, that age group. Page 7 for repair and maintenance, we do get the general ledgers from Phoenix Enterprise, which go general and all their properties. So we get the breakdown of all their repair and maintenance. And then we stabilize so that the items in red we exclude from stabilization, so that then under stabilized, 2 areas are blocked off in black. So we don't allow the capital purchase, major repairs, or 50% of general building. We consider that as CapEx. We don't allow refuse and snow removal because we stabilize that separately. So electrical maintenance, you'll see that the years are 17,000, 25, 37, 40, 41, 76. We exclude the 3 high years. So we stabilize at 21,799, which were the 2 lower years. The carpet maintenance, we use it 2013, 2017, which is 17,000. And when you multiply by 57% to get a maximum of 400,000. Phoenix as well as some other managers, are they upgrade the apartments upon turnover. So they do their carpeting quite often. So we stabilized that at the 400 maximum. From our repair maintenance study, we had some data from K4 showing the cost of carpeting for a whole bunch of flooring for a whole bunch of properties that they had, and we had general ledgers in the repair maintenance studies. That's where we get the 400. Same as the appliances. The second line, the 5-year average is 22,000. We stabilized at 16,000, which is 75% of actual, in order to get the maximum 167 per suite. Same thing with painting. The actual painting averaged 67,000. Phoenix, for some reason, always has higher painting of virtually all their properties. We bring that down to 175. 175 is a study that I did on about a dozen, maybe 15 properties by other than Phoenix. So we maxed that out at 175. And then the parking lot maintenance, we exclude the high year 2016. And then the plumbing repairs, we exclude 4 high years. And we use the lowest year, 2013, for plumbing repairs. And then other remarks, we'll see that the others that are usually the 2013 to 2017, usually 5 years. So when we stabilize, it comes to 196,000, which is 1929 per suite. Another remarks, the general building includes turnover repairs, 20 to 40%. Turnover repairs, small parts, supplies, fire alarm testing, repair doors and locks. So nothing in general repairs indicates capital expenditures. Nevertheless, we always, for Phoenix, we take 50% of that to go under CapEx, and the other 50% we show in the line in the middle. And then this one we exclude the high year. So we allowed the actual expense at 50% to start with, and then we excluded the high year. So page 8, so we input the recurrent maintenance on line 27. So that it goes there at 196 on line 27. Then gross potential rent, we show all the years. 2014 is missing. We didn't expand the column wide enough. But they've been pushing the rents. And Phoenix Globe always pushes the rents, and the vacancy tends to be higher than the assessor's 2.4, maybe because they're pushing the rent so much. So the vacancy, line 4, so 2013, 5 years before, it was high, 51,000, and it's getting higher yet because they're increasing the rents and they're pushing the rent. So therefore, we stabilize at 8.2%. The 5-year average is 7.8. We believe the 2017 vacancy is a better indicator because they have increased their rents, and therefore that's what the market is saying of the current rent, current condition, etc. We have the laundry and parking, so line 13, we're 1205 versus the assessor 1216. So the assessor's rents are too high, much higher than actual, and the actuals are pushing the rents to the maximum. We stabilize pretty much the normal rate for all items. The line 20 hydro, we checked the 2018 is 106,000, and the hydro had increased to 103 for 2017, so we stabilized at that. Same thing with the water, it increased to 46,000. We checked the use. The year after that was 45, so we stabilized at the 2017. So net operating income is line 33, 575, which is almost 100,000 less than the assessor had. And we use 6% cap rate, comes to a value of $9,591,000. The financials, we can go quickly through that. To the page 12, I guess, the first year we have, 2017, 2016. So they do show the vacancies, what they are there in the parking, laundry, the repair and maintenance. They have only one figure, and that's why we obtain the general ledgers to get a breakdown of the repair and maintenance. And that's my report.
Questions?
Just for clarification, the 1,949 per suite for repair and maintenance would be reflective of a high rent, high repair and maintenance?
Yes, that's what they are. Yeah, that's what they're spending over the 5 years after we adjust the repair and maintenance.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll give Maurice some time to calculate. So Bob, any questions?
I'm doing okay.
Well, I don't think I do have anything.
Okay, then you didn't gain much time there. Maurice,
No,
so
it's
go ahead.
okay. Not sure it's fair to ask the question because he didn't, I don't think you raised it today, but I think you're saying because of the competition, these people, to attract their renters, have to really spend more on repair and maintenance to attract. On the other hand, there's 7-8% between 7 and 8% of vacancy. So is that a fair question? Because I think you raised that before.
Yeah, I
They
do.
would try to compete, and they have to
Right.
spend a lot of money on repair and maintenance, in other words, to get people in.
Right, it's in my repair and maintenance study.
It is, okay.
And Q4 does mention that they they now have to spend more money on repair and maintenance. I believe that's in page 18 of the repair and maintenance. It says that also, as we discussed, the repair and maintenance has increased in the last 5 years. It's a new construction, purpose-built rental and condos that's not abated. We continue to spend at higher levels. We started this higher level, we'll continue at a higher level than in years past, mostly due to competition from new construction noted above.
Yeah, they've been spending a lot of money, though, on their repair and maintenance in the last 4 years, 15, 16, over 3 years, between 400,000 and 600,000.
CapEx.
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm trying to get at, if they're doing all this stuff, the building must be worth more, and they must be able to attract more people to reduce their vacancy, because they're doing lots here, in my view.
Phoenix always does lots. We always stabilize much lower than their actual repair and maintenance. So we manage, they spend a lot of money in their properties, and they push the rents to the max, and they have the vacancy, which indicates what the market is thinking of those rents. So they have the physical condition, which is done by the high repair and maintenance, and the actual average is 501 for 3 years that they actually spent. I stabilized at 196. So they do spend a lot of money, that's to get those rents. For new construction, I do have that in the cap rate study at page 93, 94, 95. It shows the properties that built up to 1997. There was 93 for the 2015 and 130 for 2017, and then now at 156. Those are properties. So the new apartment blocks coming on stream, there's quite a few being built, and that's a major competition for those older properties. So they have to spend higher repair and maintenance to compete.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so then what you're saying is that the company Phoenix?
Yes, Phoenix.
So they've adopted a high rent, but willing to take a higher than average vacancy because of those high rents, certain model.
They push the rents to, and they get pushback from the market. So there's very few properties that they have where the vacancy is not higher than normal, because they're testing the market to its maximum. That's how they operate. They're very large. They're the largest in Winnipeg. They have over 6,000 suites. They spend a lot of money on repair maintenance, and they push the rents to the maximum.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. All right. We will now move to 969 Cambridge. So you can proceed.
Okay. This is file number 19-3456, roll number 120978065880. The assessed value is $8,456,000. This is class code 20, liability status taxable, parcel use as apartment. One building, 4 stories. Actual year built is 1963 with effective year built at 1983. There are 88 suites and 60 outdoor parking spots. On page 2, this property has 64 bachelor suites, 24 one-bedrooms, with an average monthly rent per unit at $767.10. We have a vacancy rate at 2.4%. Expense rate at 46.52% and a capitalization rate at 5%, giving us the $8,456,000. We have some comparable rents, which range from $720 a month to $783 a month. On page 7, we have the income statement, which shows that the bachelor suites are reporting rents at $664, while the one-bedroom are reporting rents at $812.75. On page 9, we have a map that shows that this is at the corner of Cambridge and Taylor. I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, questions, Henry?
Page 3, your rents, gross floor area per subject towards the bottom is 479 square feet. As gross floor area including corridors, is that correct?
Yes.
And your comparables are in the 600 to 800 square feet, except one?
Yeah.
So you would agree that your comparables are larger?
Yes, the comparables are larger.
That's all the questions I have. No, this is 1963, and you have effective year built 1983, and that's why you have a 5% cap rate?
Yes, that would be reflective of the 5% cap rate.
That's all questions.
Okay, Bob, questions?
Did you look at the mailer on this one?
I looked at the mailer for the purpose of the hearing.
Did you notice any thing that stands out to you compared to your model?
Not really, no.
Let's see if that will show a higher revenue than you do. Okay, the upgrade was to 1983. Was this redone recently? Do you have any building reports or any?
I don't have the information on what caused the change in the effective year.
Yeah, okay. So you don't have any information on cost of upgrade or anything?
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Maurice?
Yeah, well, I'm on page 8 again, of the gross potential rent. And obviously in the revenue, you've got 110,000 on mortgage proceeds, and you've got prepaid of 2,900. So grosso modo in French, it'd be about $740,000 by reducing with those two amounts. Okay, so what I've done, I've gone back to your income on page 2, which is 810. So I'm comparing that to 740. Is that a fair conclusion based on the statement provided by the owner?
Yes. The one thing we're not sure what is included in the rental discounts.
Yeah, but that's only $764. So,
$6,265.
oh, am I reading the wrong?
Right. Two more down.
Yeah, but okay, I see. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I see.
So,
Okay, on the expense side, I don't know, I haven't looked at this, but I guess there's quite a mixture here of stuff, so,
yes, there is.
yeah. Okay, it's just on the income side, I'm certainly going to see what the accountant has to say. In 1983, and do we know of any permits that allowed this building to go from 1963 to 1983?
I
You
couldn't
said
find
no?
them.
Yeah, I think you asked
Sorry.
that. I didn't know, I missed that. I know you asked the question. I'm a little slow, that's all. Okay, that's all, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I know they claim the total expense is $746,000, but that included about $260,000 in mortgage costs. Talking about repair and maintenance anywhere. $211,000 in repair and maintenance. Elevator, $93,000 in elevator costs.
That's a new one.
Okay, no more questions, so you can proceed.
Oh, thank you for the data, I can understand everything. Page 1 is the total, and our value is almost $2 million less than the assessor. The suites, you can see is 64 bachelors, 24 one-bedrooms, so a high amount of bachelors. Page 2 shows the aerial photo. Page 3 shows the map. On Cambridge, you can see that this near Laguna, past the Grant Park Shopping Center on the west side of it, near Waverly. Page 6, so the effective age 1983, so our cap rate is 5.75 based on the age category 1980, 1997. Page 7 is our spreadsheet. Now, we'll go through the data to show how we did it, but we say on top the bachelors in red, 64 bachelors, you get 72.7% is bachelor, which was renovated, and the gross floor area is 42,000, and the number of suites 88, so it has very low size per suite. I believe it's such as 479. It's very small suites. The remarks at the bottom, it says it's sold for $6,100,000 and 2/18/2011. We had that as a cap rate comparable in the past. The purchaser used $500 repair and maintenance in their purchase model because it had been renovated prior to that. That 500 repair and maintenance cap rate would be 7.2. We used the cap rate 6.8. It was renovated in 2003 by Gem Equities. The cost was $25,000 per suite. They had geothermal heat, new windows, flooring, central air conditioning, plumbing, electrical upgrading kitchen and bath. It was exempt from rent control until January 1st, 2009, and then they sold it 2011. They added 2 bachelors up to purchase in March and April 2012 for rent $695 each. Pro forma indicated this could be done on the pro forma when they had the sale in 2011. So we'll go to the appendix. So page 11, this shows you the count. For heat, it shows geothermal there. Parking has 63 suites. 11B is the 2017 revenue and expense, and the rent is 717. They do have a rent reduction, 764. That usually means a rent reduction for the caretaker. And the rent discount 62.65. That usually means actual discounts to the tenants. And for repair maintenance, I show the appliance purchase is down to $14 per suite. It's still very, very low. There's no flooring cost for that year. We exclude the parking lot, R&M of $30,000. Elevator, they spent $93,000. We only allowed 5%. So the repair maintenance, we have adjusted quite a bit. Page 12, it's a little bit more repair maintenance there. There's some landscape maintenance, and then they have under wages miscellaneous interior, $5,400. Page 14 is the 2016 statement. Those rents that they have is after vacancy, so Sussex does not show vacancy, so they show the rents after vacancy. And the total rent discount is now shown as $12,000, and no rent reduction for caretaker. We exclude the prepaid, $3,000. The appliance is only $13 per suite, and the flooring is $144 per suite versus the maximum $400 or normal $400 per suite. Page 16, that's the 2015 statement. The appliance purchase only $14 per suite, 0 flooring again. For plumbing, it shows that 2017 was $91,000, 2016 $24,000, 2015 $41,000, 2014 $35,000, 2013 $38,000. So we've allowed the plumbing cost $41,000. Next page is the finish of 2015. Page 18 is the 2014 revenue and expense. And then page 19 is the repair and maintenance. We did not adjust anything there. We moved a couple items to waste and snow. And the page 21 is the 2013 statement. There again, we disallowed interest only, but we did not adjust repair and maintenance. Page 22 is the cap rate we had in the past. That was the our 2014 assessment, I guess it's a long time ago. But we showed the 2008, 9, 10. We showed the pro forma that they had at the time. And we showed the repair and maintenance was only $30,000 at that time. We stabilized the repair and maintenance of almost double what we had for repair and maintenance. That's $150 per suite. So we had calculated the cap rate of 6.8%. We had a whole bunch of data at the bottom. A lot of that is we put in our report today, but it was had been renovated prior to purchase, so they bought it. The property was renovated, and they added 2 bachelor suites after purchase, which we had that in the rent roll. So back to our page 7. So we we show the rents at 717 less the discount, 7,710, so that's what we use, 710, line 3, and the assessor is at 810. But we include the vacancy. So after we add laundry and parking, line 13, we're at 739, or about 740, the assessor is 790. So we're 50,000 less than the assessor, based on actual rents. We stabilize pretty much normal. We show 5 years of revenue and expense. The line 23 utilities dipped in 2015 and went back up to 88 and 85. We stabilized at the 2017. So the 2015 would have been the reference year for the prior assessment, 2018, and they would have had lower utilities then. Required maintenance, line 27, those are the actual required maintenance after we've adjusted for certain items. We stabilized at the 5-year average, which is relatively low at 1,049 per suite. And one of the reasons is that it's been renovated and they have very low flooring and appliances. So the most of the required maintenance is through flooring and appliances. So our expenses at 354 versus the assessor higher than us at 367. So net operating income, it shows the actual, line 33, 391, 387, 391, 368, 371. So the net income has been flat over the last 5 years. We stabilized at 5.75 cap rate. It has a poor suite mix, 72% bachelors. We could be adding extra for the poor suite mix, but we have not. So we just use our normal cap rate, 5.75, which I believe is relatively reasonable. The parking is also low. It's got 63 parking for 88 stalls, so less than 75%. So that's another reason why we would increase the cap rate normally for the low parking and the high bachelors. Nevertheless, we use our regular cap rate for this property. That's my submission.
Any questions?
No, thank you.
Murray's questions?
No, thank you.
Well,
Just do one thing here for a moment. No, I'm fine, thank you.
okay.
Can you stretch for 5 minutes?
Sure, 5-minute break till 11:30. We still got 3 properties to go.
Yeah, is that okay?
Okay. Now we move on to 5419 Roblin Boulevard, the Swedish Canadian Home for Senior Citizens.
Oh, I see. Another tax exemption.
I don't know if we have to do this one in mock Swedish or not.
This won't be
You can
that.
proceed.
This one is file number 19-2453, roll number, double checking the roll numbers, 0100349600. Before we go any further, there's been a replot on this property. So this property is not, this roll number does not exist in the 2020 roll.
Are you going to be supping it?
It has been supped.
It has been supped.
This-
So is this the original?
This is the original. The sup went out July 24th, 2019, with a reduction from the value, but this property does not exist in the 2020 roll.
Okay. Has an appeal been filed on the sup?
No, it has not.
Okay, Henry, the
He's got a big smile.
I don't think I was aware of the stuff.
case law, there is a
you're-
municipal board
that's-
decision on this.
That's where you're going to have to make the big decisions, Mr. Chairman.
Well, any changes that we make on this one, it doesn't apply to the new roll number, because we're appealing the roll number.
Doesn't exist.
Yes.
So I'll ask for confirmation. And then when I get this new information on the subs and get the new maps and all that, I'll decide whether to appeal further to municipal board or not.
Well, where was it?
If he asks for confirmation, not a problem.
Well, yeah.
Just kidding you.
There is precedent from the municipal board that says a supplemental renders the original appeal moot.
Yes.
I'm just trying to get my reference to that.
I would agree to that if a new roll number has replaced this existing roll number, it makes it moot. The Board of Revision has always insisted that we should actually withdraw an appeal when that happens. And I remember in the past I had arguments with them as to the roll. Two roll numbers, and she doesn't know that. I have no idea what happened.
Okay. So,
Maybe adjourn it.
yeah, let's, I know Lisa doesn't like adjournments, but this municipal board order says that a supplemental renders an original appeal moot. But I guess you just want to check into that?
And I would like the Board of Revision would send us notices saying, this is canceled because your appeal is moot. They don't do that. I get arguments with them saying, you
We
should
didn't know.
cancel the hearing, and it's no, you should withdraw.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty strange thing happening.
Okay, so we will adjourn this one pending your looking into it and withdraw.
Then I'm supposed to withdraw, or
Sorry.
the board to declare it moot.
Well, I mean, when we declare it moot, we declare it moot now, and then you can appeal our decision if you want.
But has he missed the deadline
Yes.
oh, there's a problem.
There's a
Missed
problem.
the deadline to appeal
Right.
this up, so that's the
Yeah.
problem.
Like, the SUP was handed out
See, this is where the unfairness
July
come in.
24th.
I had a chance to appeal at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know.
Because it comes out with the letter to appeal on it. So,
And I know Rod Slaughter was making arguments that a lot of these subs are not appealed and they're unfair. You should send the subs to us. We have filed an appeal. We should be made aware of it. It is a problem when they have these subs issued after an appeal has been filed. But I would like to look into it to get proof of it and to see if they separated the lot numbers or roll numbers or what happened. I don't have full information. I'm taken by surprise here, so. I don't like surprises, therefore I want confirmation. Or
Okay.
adjournment.
Yeah, I think it'd have to be adjournment because we can't, based on the precedent, we can't confirm. There's nothing to confirm.
Well, adjourn at least gives them a chance to
Yeah.
look into it.
All right, we'll adjourn this one.
That's what I do.
Yep. we'll adjourn this.
Sounds good.
That okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you get that citation, Henry?
Yeah, NBN 362.
Yeah. University of Manitoba versus City of Winnipeg. Okay. I had one like that last cycle, that's why I knew this.
Yeah, I remember Rod talking to me about it, saying these are problems
Yeah.
when we're not made aware of it.
Okay, 5445 Roblin. Okay, you can proceed.
Thank you. This is file number 19-3298, roll number 010058725500. The assessed value is $11,448,000. Class code 20, liability status is taxable. The parcel use is apartments. There are 2 buildings, 3 stories, built in 2001. There are 63 suites with 64 indoor parking spots and 24 outdoor parking spots. On page 3, we have our income value summary. The suite mix is 8 1-bedroom, 53 2-bedroom, and 2 3-bedroom. The average monthly rent per unit is $1,364.54. We've got a vacancy rate of 2.4%, expense rate of 43.15%, and a capitalization rate at 5%, giving us the $11,448,000. This property was reviewed during our review period. So if we look on page 9, and we see the rent here, that has been reported at $1,043,379. And then back to page 3, sorry, flipping back and forth. The rents were overridden on a unit basis to more accurately reflect actuals. And the expense rate was overridden to a below average level to more accurately reflect what we're seeing in the property. And on the back page we have a picture of the property. So there's a map. It shows us back from Roblin, and doesn't have river frontage, but it's next to the river. Thank you.
Any questions, Henry?
Page 3, you said something to the effect that the expenses were overridden.
Yes.
So what would it be before being overridden?
This property was classified as being an average property for the year built and for the style of construction. It was considered to be average, but in the review period it was looked at, and it was noted that we're not reflecting an average property is not accurately reflecting what we're getting reported on the mailer. So a closer look was taken at this, and the rents were overridden to more closely represent the actuals, and the expense rate was switched to what a below average expense rate would be to more accurately reflect. So within the model, it's working to more accurately reflect what we're seeing on this property.
So normally the expense ratio would be higher than 43%, is what you're saying?
No, it would be lower, because if we're considered an average property, but a below average property would have higher expenses.
That's all the questions I have.
Okay. Maurice, any questions?
No, I don't think I do.
Okay, Bob?
I didn't quite understand that on the expenses. You said that it given lower expenses than the average? Or
No.
higher expenses than the average?
Higher expenses than the average. It's treated as a, took a look at what it would be if it was considered a below average building and what it would be as an average building. And average building wasn't reflecting the property value, and it looked like it would be more closely resemble what the property would behave like if the expenses were treated as though the property was below average.
I still don't understand. Are these expenses you show here now, are they above or below average?
Below average.
These are below average expenses, okay.
Yes.
Very good. So the property isn't demanding as much repair and maintenance, whatever, as an average property would.
No, it's not that we're saying that the building is a below average building, so it's requiring more work.
Okay. The other way around.
Yes.
Okay, more.
Yeah.
More work. Okay. That's strange. I don't know what that
Yeah, it's hard to figure.
Okay, and was that somehow taken from the mailer?
Yes, the mailer was looked at, and we're trying to work within our model to reflect what we see on the mailer.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm just looking at the mailer. The report, expenses of $1,048,000, but that includes $522,000 in looks to be interest or mortgage or whatever. So if you take that out, it comes to $526,000 roughly. And your model is showing $434,000.
Yes, we didn't take the actuals and plug the actuals in. We're trying to still work within our model to reflect, to see how we can work our model to reflect actuals. And it was found that a hybrid would work best with this one, which isn't, we don't do this on all of the properties, obviously. We try to just adjust to a below average property, but this property, the rents that it was getting don't reflect a below average property. But an average property isn't, for this age, isn't reflecting the type of repair and maintenance that were required. So it's kind of trying to work within the model.
All right, I understand. Thank you. You can proceed, Henry.
Can I redirect from this?
Sure.
Your page 1, the plan area you show is 31,429. Times 3 would be 94,000. And it has a basement on top of that. So are you excluding the basement from your gross floor area?
It appears to be, yes.
But that's not normal. So normally you would show the basement plus the 94,000, right?
I would think so. Is the basement occupied? Sorry, are there, I'm not aware if are there units in the basement? Because that might impact, I
That's
don't
what I was
know.
going to ask you. Do you have any of the original assessment data that shows the total gross floor area? It seems to be like the photo shows 3 stories above ground.
Yes.
And those 3 stories at 31,000, it's 94,000, so it appears that there should be 123,000 or so, including basement.
Is the basement the parking? I'm not sure. I don't have the information on that, and I wasn't able to go and inspect it.
So the indoor, has indoor parking, 64 stalls, so that would be the parking area for the basement.
I would assume so, yes.
So the subject property has a larger area per suite than your comparables, so that would mean larger.
We're getting kind of out of anything arising from the board questions.
Well, it was talking why they overridden and all that, and then large
Well,
square footage
I mean, you have your original chance to ask questions, and you don't get two chances to ask questions.
Okay.
You can ask questions out of anything arising from the board's questions, but not a new questions.
That's all questions. I'm ready for my report.
Yep.
Okay, so the repair maintenance study that I presented before, page 22 to 23, it was data on this property, so that the controller had given me the cost for different items that they had in the building, and I recreated that in my appendix, page 27, 28, 29. So my page 27, it's me sending a message to the rest of the staff at Altus saying there's a repair maintenance for this property, likely managed by Sam. Show the suite mix. The cost would be mostly for 2 bedrooms, so the suite mix indicates mostly 2 bedrooms. The GFA is also fairly high, 1953 square feet per suite, so it's very large suites. And that would affect the cost of flooring, but not other items. So Sam did a study of various costs for flooring, appliances, toilets, sinks, countertops, etc. And the flooring was $47.15 to $51.98 per suite. And the repair and maintenance study involving mainly 3-4 properties was around $4,000 per suite. So they have higher flooring costs, mainly because they have larger suites. And the cost of 3 appliances was $21.51, air conditioner was $6.63, and the K4 was around $16.70, so they have higher costs there, so that's likely due to difference in quality. So page 29, it gives you the breakdown that they have for each of the years, 2018 all the way back to 2011. So they were very kind to do all this analysis for me. But it shows you the average cost they have on a per suite basis for all those particular items. So the flooring per suite is now $68.67 for 2018, and prior was $47.15. Dishwashers are shown for the different years, humidifiers, refrigerators are shown, ranges, carburetors, toilets, kitchen sinks, countertops, about $2,500 per countertop, air conditioners. So the financials, the data would start page 11. So they gave us the handwritten questionnaires, which they give to the assessor, which is page 11 to 15, 17, and then we asked for the actual financial statements, which we have in 2018, because the questionnaires don't give any data or details on repair and maintenance. So we have better data. I believe I sent that to Jennifer ahead of time. Mm-hmm. So we show the items we have under repair and maintenance for each of those items. They have some other operating, page 18. They have some items that are repair and maintenance. And then they have a maintenance, page 13, so there's further repair and maintenance. It shows some of the items, we put X's there, we don't allow for amortization of mortgage interest, provision for replacement reserve, etc., but we do allow for reserves. This property is a life lease, therefore the rents that they charge can only equal what the total expenses are. So at the bottom of page 18, it says excessive revenue over expenses from operation, 48,000. Tenant rent refundable, 48,000. So it's a year-end discount. So part of the rents that they have is the fact that they spend a ton of money on repair and maintenance on this property. And then when they go over that, they refund the rent, so it becomes a year-end discount. Page 19 is the replacement reserve. And then they show what the appliances, countertops, etc. So the appliances was 117 per suite. Prior year, 210 per suite. We've allowed 80%, which is 167 per suite. Their appliances are higher than the K4, but nevertheless, we've maxed it at 167 per suite. The flooring was 99,000 in 2017. We've allowed 25% of that. We disallowed in 2016 the insurance costs they had. Page 20, this is the schedule, the repair and maintenance that they had on the previous page where they had 109,000. So we show for heating, ventilation, plumbing, we show what the other years were, 2015, 40,000, 2014, 34, 2013, 31, and then they're now 41 and 73 for 2016, 2017. So we've allowed only 55% for the 2016, which brings it to 40,000, it's in line with other years. Painting, we've allowed 67% and 95%, we maxed it at 175 per suite. Page 21, so we have the same thing, 2016, 2015. They have some repair and maintenance items, then they have maintenance. See page 11, so I have a schedule. They have the year-end discounts at the bottom, which we show on our spreadsheet. Page 22, the appliances, we allowed 80% to get it to 167 per suite. Exterior, we only allowed 5,000 for 2015 instead of 42 and 35. We just allowed their insurance again. Page 23 for the schedule of maintenance, we allowed the grounds maintenance, 55%, and the heating ventilation. We allowed 55%, and that was from the previous where we had shown all 5 years, and this was a high year, so we disallowed that year, or allowed 55% to bring in line with the other years. And painting, again, we allowed 175 per suite maximum. Page 24 is the start 2014, 2013 statement. Maintenance schedule, page, 26, but page before that, page 25 is the reserve for replacement. We've allowed flooring maximum at 400 per suite, even though they showed that over the long term their flooring was higher than that. And so we allowed exterior we allowed only 5,000. The flooring we allowed 400 maximum. And the painting we allowed 175 per suite maximum. So we and for 2013 we show max and RM because of the RM on page 24. They do have painting also. 2013 equipment. Pictures out there, waste. Oh, yeah, page 26 is the painting. So they have painting. We've allowed 95% of the painting for 2013, so to get it to 175, so we disallowed all the painting and the replacement reserve. So the page 26, the breakdown of the repair and maintenance for 2014, 2013. He was adjusted only to painting for 2013. And 27 was that email that they had done for me, where they show the flooring costs, etc. Now they have very large suites. Now we should probably have allowed higher than normal for other properties, but we applied the maximum that we've allowed for most other properties, which is 400 per suite for carpeting and 167 for appliances. So if you go to page 7, so the rents they got, that was line 1, 1,037. The year end, they reduced it by 48,000 because the expenses were not high enough. So the line 13, they only got 998. We agree with the assessor's EGI, 1,006,000, and I believe they brought it down to be site specific also. The gas, it shows the 2 items in red that it was a bit higher in the past, and then they dropped to 20,449, so that's what we use. It's not a big difference. In repair and maintenance, like 27, we show all the 5 years. We average the 2013 to 2017 5-year average, and that's 1,800 per suite. The reserves, line 29, which I had gone through and we had adjusted the reserves that we went along. And that's 925 per suite. That's what we stabilized at. That's 2725 per suite total repair and maintenance, which is on the high side. But the rents for this property, line 3, is 1365 per suite. So that's what the assessor had. That's what we end up agreeing with. So it has very high rents. And part of that is that because it's a life lease, we can only charge the rents based on the expenses it has. And part of the expenses it has is the repair and maintenance and the reserves. And we've reduced that from what it was actual. We've done a lot of downward adjustments. So that repair and maintenance matches the rents that they're getting, which is on the high side. We have some remarks, but I believe we went through that. And of the MC, higher repair maintenance due in large part to large suites and suite mix as well as high rents. And that's my submission.
Okay, questions?
I'm just curious, the contributed surplus, the amount that is contributed for extra upgrades, is that, how is that included in the calculations, or is that just, like, I haven't seen that statement, so I wasn't sure with the higher expenses, because there are higher rents with that whole thing factoring in.
I'm not sure what you mean by contributed surplus and where.
Your page 22, number 10, contributed surplus. Contributed surplus represents the portion of payments received from tenants for extra upgrades to their residences. The entire cost of the upgrades are added to the cost of the building. 1/2 of the cost of the permanent upgrade is added to tenant equity contribution, which is refundable to the tenant upon termination of their life lease. The other half is added to contributed surplus and is not refundable. I'm just curious if the tenants are able to ask for extra upgrades over and above what we would normally see in market apartments, and then how is that factored into the expenses for the calculation?
Yeah, we had the same thing with the Fred Douglas place. So that some of the upgrades are specific to a particular street. So well, that's what they are. And I have not adjusted for that, and I agree with your rents.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Bob, any questions?
Yeah, you've allowed a reserve expense in this, and it's just not normal if you see in apartment buildings. Why is there a reserve expense shown here?
Any property that's either nonprofit or usually school exempt, they have to have replacement reserves as per either CMHC or MHRC. So those properties have to have replacement reserves. So we have been using replacement reserve for years and years and years, and we went to municipal board on the, I believe it was Fred Douglas Place, and we came to an agreement on that property for all life leases and others that we will allow replacement reserves. They just showed their expenses in a different area.
So it's reserve expense because it's a non-profit operation, is that what you're saying?
I believe all nonprofits, when it's for profit, there's no replacement reserve. So that's
For not-for-profit, there's no replacement reserve.
Right.
This is considered a non-profit building.
Yes.
Can you say the rents are high, even though it's a life lease, where the tenants have all contributed, what they put in, $100,000 each or something?
Yeah, I don't have the contributions.
Well,
here.
you've agreed with the assessor on the income anyway, so there's no problem. I'm just wondering why there would be such high rents when the tenants have contributed a large amount of capital to them.
We had that issue with the municipal board also actually at first hearing. So at that time the board had ruled, and we agreed in subsequent hearings, that the life lease contribution at the front, the tenants get that back when they leave. And the reason we give that contribution to the front is that it prevents the owner from raising their rent. It's a life lease, and therefore they're saying what they enjoy from that is that the rents cannot exceed the expenses, and so that the assessor had given some like 4% or 5% of the entrance fee as actual over the rent. And the municipal board said, no, we should not be allowing for that because they're paying actually for other benefits, and it should not be added to the rents.
Okay, and your difference is on expenses on cap rate here anyways.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Maurice?
Well, I had the same question on the reserve. I think you answered it. But on the, as well, if you combine 18 and 925, gives us 2725. And you had mentioned previously that you were capping this at 2,500, but it's because it's a non-profit, that cap does not apply. Is that correct?
No. It's not a nonprofit, it's actually a residential too, taxable. So for life lease, part of the requirements is that they have to have this reserve for replacement.
Yeah, I know, I heard that.
So that is directly related to the rents, because they can only charge so much rent depending how much expense they have. So the more they spend on the repair and maintenance and reserves, the more they can charge the rents. If they spend less on repair and maintenance, we'll have less rents. So this property, over the last 5 years, the history we have, has very high repair and maintenance and reserves, higher than normal. That's all related to rents, because the rents at $13.65 per suite is higher than normal also. So I think if you're going to accept these high rents, you have to accept the high repair and maintenance that makes those rents possible.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Did you have something else, Mo?
No, that's it, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so am I. So we're done with this property. We got one more to go, and then we have room for one. So 6105 Roslyn.
Oh, they got a board of one?
Yep.
Oh, you
I got a board of one.
Yeah, you have. I don't either. We don't care about you, Mr. Chairman.
I care about you. I care about you. I thought you were kind of rude.
No, I am. I'm just trying to bug you a little bit.
Okay, you can proceed.
This is file number 19-3636, roll number 010042660000. The assessed value is $1,901,000. This is class code 20, liability status is taxable. This parcel use is apartment, one building, 3 stories, built in 1973, 23 suites, and 25 outdoor parking spots. On page 2, we have our income value summary. 17 one-bedroom, 6 two-bedroom. Average monthly rent per unit is $803.86. We've applied a 2.4% vacancy rate, a 53.48% expense rate, and a 5.3% capitalization rate, giving us the $1,901,000. We have some rental comparables on page 3. And some income information on page 7 and 8 with pictures on page 9. This shows that this property is on Roblin at the corner of Berkeley Street. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Questions, Mr. Dupont?
Page 3, your comparables.
Yes.
Subject is 799 gross floor area per suite, so that's relatively small. Would you agree?
Yes.
So 2 your comparables are much higher, 1,067, 1,240 square feet.
Yes, but I'm not sure if they have underground parking or anything.
Those are small properties, 6 units, 22 units, and 6 units, so they would likely have no underground parking.
Sure. Okay.
Your comparable number 2 is closer in size than subject, but it's built 1930.
Yes.
So has this property been renovated?
Considering the rent that it's getting, I would assume that it had been, but I have no knowledge of any of the upgrades or repairs.
So would you agree that the comparables you have are not really comparable to the subject?
No. I think they are.
All questions I have?
Okay. Bob, questions?
Yeah, did you make reference to the mailer?
There were no adjustments made to the model, no adjustments made to the calculations based on the mailer.
You didn't think any were necessary there, right? Okay.
Yeah.
5.3 cap,
Yes.
1973 building. Nothing further, thanks.
Okay, Maurice?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, just on your page 7 on the mailer, it's got, on the expense side, it's got insurance, but what's the second line? Read interest and,
I have no idea.
okay. I was wondering what that was for, because if that is indeed an interest expense, then you add that to the net operating income, you come pretty close to what you've estimated.
And motor vehicle expense is also somewhat
I saw that, yeah.
not part of our usual building operation expenses.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Okay, thank you. You can proceed, Henry.
Yeah, the photo, page 1, part lot, opening 73, she has some balconies. Page 2, aerial photo, page 3 shows where it is. Robin, close to the perimeter. Built 1973 for the cap rate, we're at 6%. To recall, we have, I believe, 5 cap rates, and built in the early 70s, so that the indicates at 6%. Page 7 is our spreadsheet. And blue shows the rent is reduced due to cable switch. So they had, line 1, 2016 it was 220,000, maybe it went down to 207. And line 24 shows that they had cable, $10,000 per year, and by 2017 it was down to $884. So when you remove cable, you have to reduce rent as per rent guidelines. Repair and maintenance, line 27, we have 5 years. They're all the mid-20s. And that's only $1,093 per suite, so we stabilize at that. The rent page, line 3 is $752 per suite, which according to our repair and maintenance study for that age group is, I believe, was around $800 per suite we had. You can go to the appendix to the data, page 11. So these are the handwritten questionnaires. So they don't have any breakdown in repair and maintenance. Page 12, they don't show any capital cost summary. That's what the assessor asked that the owner do, so they put nil for that. We have the other years, 2016. Motor vehicle expense is added to the repair and maintenance, and that's the what they pay somebody to run the property. Either a caretaker and or repair and maintenance. So we have similar statements for all the years. So back to page 7. The expenses, $119,000, was $4,000 higher than the assessor, and our rents were EGI were about $11,000 less than the assessor. So in the end, we're NOI is $14,000 less than the assessor, almost $15,000. Mainly from going site specific, we use a 6% cap rate, so that brings it to a value of 1,436. That's my report.
Any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, Maurice, questions?
Oh, I think I'm okay, thank you.
Bob?
Yeah, okay for me, thanks.
All right, and I have no questions, so thank you for that. And that concludes this morning's hearing. This morning / afternoon's hearing.